The medical room was quiet except for the soft beeping of machines. Lay on a strange bed that seemed to glow with blue light. His skin looked wrong, covered in burns and dark patches that spread across his arms and face. He did not move. He did not open his eyes. The machines breathed for him. Queen stood beside the bed. She had not left this room for 2 days. Her long silver robes touched the floor, and her skin shimmered like crystal in the dim light. She was beautiful in the way her people were beautiful, tall, elegant, and cold-looking. But her eyes were warm as she looked at the dying human. Her advisors did not understand. They whispered behind her back. Why would a queen waste time on one alien? Why would she care so much about a human engineer, but did not care what they thought? This human had saved her daughter. That was all that mattered. Little pressed against her mother's side. The princess was small for her age, with the same crystalline skin as her mother but softer, still growing. Her large eyes were filled with tears that she tried not to let fall. She held onto her mother's robes with both hands. "Will he die, mother?" whispered. Placed a gentle hand on her daughter's head. "I will not let him die." 2 days ago everything had been normal, was just another worker on the ship. He fixed machines and checked systems. Nobody paid much attention to him. He was human, and humans were still new to most of the galaxy. They were small and weak compared to other species. Their ships were slow. Their technology was basic. Most aliens thought humans were not very special. Did not mind. He liked his work. He liked the quiet of the engine rooms and the puzzle of broken machines. He was good at his job, and that was enough for him. Then the accident happened. It started with a warning alarm in the old section of the ship. The reactor was failing. Something had gone wrong deep in the core, and radiation was flooding the corridors. The type of radiation that could kill. The type that ate through metal and flesh alike. The crew ran away from that section. The guards sealed the doors. Nobody could go in there, not if they wanted to live. The people had bodies made partly of crystal. Radiation like this would turn them to dust in seconds. But then someone heard a voice on the emergency channel. A child's voice, screaming. Princess had been exploring where she should not have been. She liked to wander the ship when her guards were not watching. She was curious about everything, always asking questions, always looking for adventure. This time, her curiosity had taken her to the forbidden old section. When the reactor failed, she was trapped. The guards looked at each other with fear in their eyes. They could not go in. They would die before they reached her. The ship's captain called for help, but no could survive that radiation. They needed special equipment that would take hours to arrive. Did not have hours, she had minutes. Heard the screams through his workstation. He was in the engineering bay, checking a report on a broken air filter. The sound of the child's terror cut through everything else. He did not think. He did not stop to ask questions. He just ran. Other humans tried to stop him. "You will die in there," they shouted. "Your suit cannot handle that much radiation." Knew they were right. His environmental suit was made for space walks and small leaks. It was not made for a reactor flood. But he also knew that a child was dying. He could hear her screaming. He could not walk away from that sound. He sealed his suit and went through the door. The radiation hit him immediately. He could feel it even through the suit, a terrible heat that made his skin burn. The air looked wrong, shimmering and thick. Warning lights flashed red everywhere. His suit's computer screamed alerts at him, telling him he was going to die. He ignored it and kept moving. He found behind a fallen beam. She was curled into a ball, her small body shaking. A protective shield around her flickered weakly, almost gone. When she saw him, she reached out her hands. "Help me," she cried. "Please help me." Did not have time to be careful. He pulled the emergency blanket from his suit, the last protection he had. It was meant to save one person in case of suit failure. He wrapped it around instead, destroying his own safety. The radiation hit his exposed suit like fire. He picked up the princess and ran. The corridors seemed endless. His vision started to blur. His hands shook. Every step hurt more than the last. The suit alarms changed from warnings to flatline tones. His body was shutting down, but he kept moving. He held close and did not stop. When he reached the safe zone, people rushed forward. Someone took from his arms. Someone else tried to catch him as he fell. He saw the princess safe in her mother's arms. He saw relief on the faces around him. "The princess," he whispered. His voice sounded far away even to himself. "Is she safe?" Then the world went dark. Now he lay in this medical room more dead than alive. The ship's chief physician had explained the problem to Queen. They did not know how to save him. Medicine worked on crystalline bodies, on silicon-based life. Humans were different, carbon-based, soft, fragile in ways they did not understand. "We have never treated a human before," had said. His voice was sad but honest. "His body is dying in ways we cannot fix. The radiation has poisoned his cells. We do not know how to heal him." Queen had looked at the doctor with eyes that could freeze stars. "Then learn," she said. "Use every resource we have. Contact every medical expert in the Empire. I do not care what it costs." Had tried to argue. "Your Majesty, he is one alien, the cost." "This human gave everything to save my daughter," interrupted. He did not think about cost. He did not think about himself. He only thought about saving a child. If we cannot do the same for him, then we do not deserve to call ourselves civilized. The doctor had bowed and left to begin his work. Now stood watch. She would not leave. She would not rest. This human had run into certain death for. The least she could do was stand beside him while he fought for his life. Touched the human's hand gently. His skin felt hot and strange. "I am sorry," she whispered. "I am sorry I was bad. I am sorry you are hurt." "Hush, little one," said softly. "He did not save you because you were good or bad. He saved you because you needed saving. That is what makes him special." The machines beeped steadily. His chest rose and fell with the help of the breathing device. Outside the medical room, the ship continued its journey through space. But inside this small room, a queen stood guard over a dying human, and a little princess learned what true courage looked like. Queen made a silent promise. This human would not die. She would move planets if she had to. She would spend every resource in her empire. She would face down her entire council if necessary. He had not let die. She would not let him die either. That was her vow, a queen's word unbreakable as diamond. The research lab hummed with activity. Screens filled with data covered every wall. Medical equipment that would not recognize surrounded his still body. Moved between stations, his crystalline hands checking readings that made no sense. Beside him worked a researcher from one of the few mammalian species allied with the Empire. She was smaller than the, covered in soft fur, with large eyes that saw details others missed. She had been studying human biology for the past 3 days, and what she found both amazed and frustrated her. "This is impossible," she muttered, looking at another scan. "His cells should have died completely by now. But look, some are still fighting. They are damaged, yes, but they refuse to give up." Leaned over her shoulder. "Can we use that?" "I do not know," admitted. "Human biology is so different. Their bodies heal slowly but steadily. They regenerate tissue over time. But this damage," she gestured at the screen showing organs, "this is too much. His body cannot fight this alone." In the Royal Council chamber, Chancellor Vex stood before the assembled advisors. His voice was sharp and cold. "We must discuss the Queen's decision. She is using massive resources to save one alien. Do you know what this is costing? We have diverted 3 medical ships, contacted specialists across the Empire, and put other projects on hold. For one human." The council members murmured agreement. They respected their queen, but this seemed excessive. Humans were not even formal allies yet. They were just contractors, workers hired to help with repairs. There are treaty implications, another advisor added. If we save him, the humans will expect the same treatment for all their people. We cannot afford that. Chancellor Vex nodded. And what message does this send? That any alien who does something heroic deserves unlimited resources. We must think practically. But before anyone could respond, the chamber doors opened. Queen entered, her presence silencing the room immediately. She moved to her seat with grace, but her eyes were hard as diamonds. I heard your concerns, she said quietly. Let me address them. You worry about cost. You worry about precedent. You worry about treaties and politics. She paused, letting her gaze sweep across each face. I worry about honor. Your Majesty, Vex began carefully, we all respect what the human did. Do you? Interrupted. Because your words suggest otherwise. That human did not ask about cost when he ran into death. He did not think about treaties or precedent. He heard a child screaming and he acted. He gave everything. Her voice grew stronger. If we cannot do the same for him, then all our power and technology mean nothing. We are not civilized. We are just clever. The council fell silent. No one dared argue further. Outside the palace, in the engineering section of the ship, gathered the human crew. He was the supervisor, older than most, with steady hands and a calm voice that people trusted. He had worked with for 2 years and knew him well. How is he? Someone asked. Shook his head. Not good. They are trying everything, but they do not understand human bodies. We need to help them. How can we help? Asked another engineer. We are not doctors. No, agreed. But we know humans. We know our biology, our medicine, our history. They are learning from scratch. We can give them information they need. The crew agreed immediately. Within hours, they had contacted Earth and requested every medical file, every study on radiation treatment, every bit of data that might help. They sent it all to, and her team received the information with gratitude. She studied it carefully, cross-referencing human medicine with technology. Slowly, an idea began to form. Look at this, she told excitedly. Human cells regenerate naturally. They heal damage over time. Our technology cannot do that directly because we have different biology. But what if we do not try to heal him? What if we just give his body time and support? Time looked doubtful. He is dying now. How much time does he need? That is the problem, admitted. His body needs weeks, maybe months to heal this damage. He does not have that long. They worked through the night, building simulations and testing theories. The answer came from an unexpected place, the stasis technology used for long space voyages. We can slow his cellular decay, explained to Queen the next morning. Not stop it, but slow it dramatically. While in stasis, we can synthesize treatments based on human medicine and technology. It has never been done before. It might not work, but it is the only chance. Looked at's unconscious face. Princess sat beside the bed, drawing pictures with bright colors. She had been there every day, talking to the human who could not hear her. Tell me the risks, said. Was honest. The stasis might kill him faster. His body might reject the foreign technology. The treatment we create might not work. There are 100 ways this could fail. And if we do nothing, he dies within days, maybe hours. Made her decision quickly. Prepare the procedure. I will take responsibility for the outcome. The medical team worked fast. They built a special chamber that glowed with soft blue light. Inside would be suspended, his body slowed to a crawl while they worked to save him. Watch them prepare. Mother, will it hurt him? I do not know, little one, said honestly. She knelt beside her daughter. But we must try. He tried to save you even when it hurt him. We must be as brave as he was. Came to see before the procedure. He stood beside the bed, looking at his friend's burned and damaged body. They had worked together for 2 years, but realized he did not know much about life. The man was quiet, kept to himself, never talked about family or home. But knew what mattered. was a good man. He did his work well. He helped others when they needed it. And when a child was dying, he had not hesitated. "You are stubborn," said quietly to the unconscious man. "You always were, so be stubborn now. Fight this. Come back to us." The procedure began at midnight. The medical team lifted carefully into the chamber. Machines hummed to life around him. The blue light grew brighter. Queen stood at the window, watching, held her hand tightly. The entire human crew was there too, standing in the observation room, silent and hopeful. His hands moved across the controls, beginning stasis in 3, 2, 1. The light surrounded completely. His body seemed to float in the glow. The monitors showed his heartbeat slowing, his breathing decreasing, his cells entering a state between life and death. Then something went wrong. Alarms blared. The monitors spiked red. His body convulsed inside the chamber, thrashing against the restraints. "What is happening?" demanded. "His body is rejecting the stasis field," shouted over the alarms. "The technology is reading him as foreign matter, not a patient." Worked frantically at the controls. "We need to teach the system to recognize human biology, but I do not know how." "Use me," said suddenly. He stepped forward. "Connect me to the system. Use my biology as a template. My living cells can show the technology what human life looks like." "That procedure could damage your brain," warned. "You could lose your memories. Your personality could change. You might not wake up." Looked through the window at, still convulsing in the chamber. He thought about how had not hesitated when needed help, how he had run toward death without asking questions. "Do it," said firmly. "Connect me now." The medical team moved quickly. They placed in a chair beside the main console and attached neural links to his head. The connections glowed as they activated. "This will hurt," warned. "I know," said. He looked at Queen. "Save him, make this count." The connection engaged. His back arched as electricity flowed through the neural links. His mind opened to the alien technology, showing it what human cells looked like, how they functioned, how they should be treated. Inside the chambers, convulsions began to slow. The alarms quieted. The monitors steadied. The technology was learning. Minutes passed like hours. His face was pale, sweat running down his temples, but he held on, feeding the system information it needed. Finally, the process completed. The monitors showed stable readings. Floated peacefully in the stasis field, his body finally recognized as something to protect and heal. Collapsed in the chair, medical staff rushed to check him. He was unconscious but alive, his brain patterns still normal. Queen looked at the two humans, one in stasis, one unconscious from helping him. She felt something she had not expected. Respect. Deep, genuine respect for these small, fragile creatures who gave everything for each other. "Begin the treatment synthesis," she ordered. "We will not waste this sacrifice." As the medical team began their work, drew another picture. This one showed two humans standing together, surrounded by stars. She titled it carefully in her child's handwriting, "The Brave Ones." 3 days passed slowly. The medical bay became a second home for many people. Queen spent most of her time there, watching over in his glowing chamber, refused to go to her lessons. She sat on a cushioned chair beside the window, drawing pictures and telling stories to the human who could not hear her. Had woken after 20 hours. The neural link had left him weak and confused, but his mind was intact. The doctors were amazed. They had expected brain damage, memory loss, or worse. But humans, it seemed, were more resilient than anyone thought. "How do you feel?" asked him during a checkup. Touched his head gently. "Like I touched something vast, the technology. I felt how it thinks. It is beautiful and strange." He paused. "Is it working? Is stable?" "For now," said carefully. "The stasis is holding, but now comes the hard part. We must create a treatment that can heal damage his body cannot fix alone." The research lab ran day and night, led a team of specialists from across the empire. They studied the information from Earth, compared it with medicine, and tried to build something new, something that had never existed before. The Royal Council met again. Chancellor Vex stood before Queen, his expression troubled but respectful. "Your Majesty, I must report on the costs. We have spent more resources on this human than we spend on a small colony in a year. The medical ships, the specialists, the research time, it adds up." Met his gaze calmly. "I am aware of the costs, Chancellor." "I do not mean to question your decision," Vex continued carefully, "but the people are watching. They wonder why their queen cares so much about one alien. Some support you, others do not understand." "Then help them understand," said. "Send out the recordings from that day. Let them see what this human did. Let them see him running into death for a child who was not his own, who was not even his species. Let them ask themselves, would they have done the same?" The recordings spread across the Empire's networks. People watched seal his suit and walk through those doors. They heard the alarms screaming. They saw him wrap his only protection around Princess. They watched him carry her through radiation that was killing him with every step. The Empire's opinion began to shift. Messages came to the palace, thousands of them. People expressed support for the Queen's decision. They called a hero. Some even asked if they could donate resources to help save him. But not everyone was convinced. In the military sector, some officers grumbled. Humans were too emotional, they said, too quick to act without thinking. This proved humans were reckless, not heroic. General spoke quietly with his officers. "This incident will change things. The Queen is forming an attachment to these humans. We must watch carefully. Sentiment is dangerous in politics." In the medical bay, made a breakthrough. She burst into the observation room where and were keeping vigil. "Your Majesty, I think we have it." Stood quickly, "Tell me." Brought up displays on the wall screens. Human cells regenerate through a process called mitosis. They divide and replace damaged tissue. Medicine cannot trigger this directly because our biology is so different, but we can create the perfect environment for it to happen naturally. She pointed to complex diagrams. "We synthesize a treatment using both technologies. Biocrystal matrices to repair cellular damage at the molecular level, combined with human stem cell stimulation to trigger natural healing. The treatment will be delivered while he remains in stasis. His body will heal itself, but faster and more effectively than normal." "How much faster?" asked. "Weeks of healing compressed into days," said. "But there is risk. We have never tested this. His body might accept it or—" She did not finish the sentence. "Or he might die," completed quietly. She looked at floating in the blue light. "What are his chances if we do nothing?" "He will die in the stasis chamber. The field only slows his death. It does not stop it." "Then we have no choice," decided. "Prepare the treatment. When can you begin?" "We need 6 hours to prepare," said. "Then we will know if this works." Those 6 hours felt endless, could not sit still. She paced back and forth, clutching her drawings. Sat quietly, her hands folded, her face calm. But inside she felt fear. What if the treatment failed? What if this human died despite everything they had done? She thought about what had told the council. Humans are stubborn. They do not give up. She hoped he was right. The human crew gathered in the observation room as the time approached. Was there, still weak but determined to witness this. Stood beside him, her hands clasped tightly. Others filled the space, all silent, all hopping. Checked every system 3 times. Assisted her, his movements precise. The treatment was loaded into the chamber, a glowing liquid that looked like liquid stars. "Beginning treatment in 1 minute," announced. Stood and moved closer to the window, grabbed her mother's hand. The Queen looked down at her daughter. "Whatever happens," said softly, "remember that we tried. Remember that we honored his sacrifice." Nodded, tears already forming in her eyes. "Treatment commencing," said. The liquid flowed into the chamber. It surrounded its floating body, mixing with the blue stasis light. For a moment, nothing happened. Then's body began to glow, not the blue of the stasis field, but a golden light that came from within. The monitor spiked. Numbers scrolled faster than anyone could read. His cellular activity is increasing, called out. The treatment is engaging. But then the alarm started. Red lights flashed across every screen. His body convulsed again, jerking against the restraints. He is rejecting it, someone shouted. No, said, studying the data carefully. He is not rejecting it, he is fighting it. His immune system thinks the treatment is an attack. Can you stop it? Demanded. If we stop now, the partial treatment will kill him faster, said desperately. We have to push through. His body needs to accept this. The convulsions grew worse. His face twisted in pain even though he was unconscious. The monitors screamed warnings. Could not watch. She buried her face in her mother's robe, sobbing. Please do not die, please, I am sorry, please do not die. Stepped forward, pressing his hand against the window. Come on, he said quietly. You are the most stubborn man I know. You do not give up, you never have, do not start now. The other humans moved closer, adding their voices. Fight it. You can do this. Do not leave us. Watched the humans supporting their friend with their words, their presence, their faith. It reminded her of something her mother had once said. Strength is not just in the body. It is in the will to continue when everything says to stop. Minutes passed. The convulsions continued. The alarms did not stop. The medical team worked frantically, adjusting levels, trying to ease the transition. Then slowly, the convulsions began to lessen. The monitors started to stabilize. The golden glow in the chamber grew brighter, steadier. His immune system is adapting, said, her voice filled with wonder. It is recognizing the treatment as help, not attack. His cells are accepting it. The alarms quieted one by one. The numbers on the screens began to show improvement. Cellular regeneration was accelerating. Damaged tissue was repairing itself. The radiation poisoning was being pushed back. It is working, whispered. By the stars, it is actually working. The room erupted in cheers. The human crew hugged each other, looked up, hope replacing despair on her small face. Mother, is he going to live? Felt something release in her chest, tension she had been holding for days. Yes, little one, I think he is. But raised a hand for quiet. He is not safe yet. The treatment will take 3 more days to complete. He must remain stable. There could still be complications. Then we watch, said firmly. We do not leave him alone. For 3 days, someone was always in the observation room. Took the first watch, sitting by the window through the night. Took the second, telling stories about working with to anyone who would listen. Refused to leave at all, sleeping on cushions brought by the servants. The human crew rotated shifts. They brought food, brought comfort, brought hope. The medical staff worked tirelessly, monitoring every change, adjusting the treatment as needed. On the second day, his burned skin began to heal. The dark patches faded. New tissue grew to replace what had been destroyed. On the third day, his organs showed improvement. The radiation damage was revering. On the morning of the 4th day, came to Queen with news. The treatment is complete. His body has accepted everything. He is healing faster than we thought possible. When will he wake? Asked. Soon, said. His brain activity is increasing. His body is ready. When we release the stasis, he should regain consciousness within hours. Looked at, now looking more peaceful than he had since the accident. His skin was but whole. His breathing was steady. He looked like he was simply sleeping. Do it, she said. Bring him back. Prepared the controls. The human crew gathered again. Stood at the window, her hands pressed against the glass. Releasing stasis in 3, 2, 1. The blue light began to fade. The chamber opened slowly. His body lowered gently onto a medical bed. The machines disconnected. The glow disappeared. For a long moment nothing happened, lay still. Then his chest rose in a deep, shuddering breath. His eyelids fluttered, his fingers twitched. The room held its breath. Slowly, painfully, his eyes opened. They were unfocused at first, confused. He blinked several times, trying to understand where he was. His lips moved. His voice was barely a whisper, rough from days of not speaking. "Princess," did she? Smiled, and for the first time in days she felt true relief. "Yes," she said clearly, "she is safe, because of you." His eyes found the window where stood. The little princess was crying and laughing at the same time, waving at him frantically. A small smile touched his lips. Then his eyes closed again, this time in peaceful rest, not unconsciousness. He was going to live. 7 days after the stasis chamber opened, sat up in bed for the first time. His body was weak, his muscles unused after so long lying still, and her medical team watched carefully as he moved slowly, testing his strength. "How do you feel?" asked. "Thought about it. Strange, like I'm not quite myself anymore." He was right. The treatment had saved his life, but it had changed him too. Scans showed that his cells now carried traces of biocrystal structures. His body had accepted the alien technology and made it part of himself. He was no longer completely human, but he was not alien either. He was something new. Will I stay like this?" asked. "We believe so," said gently. "Your body has integrated the technology. It is part of you now. It should not cause problems. In fact, it may have made you stronger." Looked at his hands. They looked the same, but he could feel something different inside them. A faint glow under his skin, visible only in dim light. "I suppose that is a fair trade for living," he said quietly. The door burst open and ran in, ignoring the protests of her guards. She stopped beside the bed, suddenly shy now that he was awake and looking at her. "Hello, Princess," said with a small smile. "You are awake," exclaimed, then her face crumpled. "I am so sorry, it is my fault you were hurt, I should not have been in that place." "Come here," said gently. When she moved closer, he spoke in a kind voice. "You made a mistake. Everyone makes mistakes. But what happened to me was my choice. I heard someone who needed help and I chose to help. I would make the same choice again." "Really?" Eyes were wide. "Really," confirmed. "You are safe. That is all that matters to me." Queen entered the room more quietly. She had changed from her formal robes into simpler clothing, but she still carried herself with royal dignity. She approached the bed and looked at with an expression he could not quite read. "You are recovering well," she said. "Thanks to you, Your Majesty," replied. "Told me what you did, how you used the Empire's resources, how you stayed beside me." He paused. "I am just an engineer. Why would you do all that for me?" His expression softened. "You saved my daughter. You gave everything without hesitation. How could I do less?" She placed a hand on his arm. "You showed us what true courage looks like. The Empire owes you a debt we can never fully repay." But not everyone in the Empire was happy about its recovery. In the military sector, General held a private meeting with select officers. "The Queen has become too attached to these humans," said. "This incident proves they are reckless, emotional, they act without thinking." "But he saved the princess," one officer pointed out. "And in doing so, he has given humans too much influence," argued. "Mark my words, this will change everything. The Queen will want formal alliances. She will give them access to our technology. It is a mistake." While the military grumbled in secret, the rest of the Empire celebrated. News of his recovery spread quickly. His image appeared on networks across space. The human who had refused to let a child die, even at the cost of his own life. Messages flooded in from across the galaxy. Other species sent congratulations. Human colonies celebrated. Even skeptical voices had to admit that what did was extraordinary. On Earth, the human government contacted Queen officially. They wanted to discuss what had happened, why their citizen had been in danger, and what would happen now. The conversation was delicate but friendly, explained everything honestly, and the human government thanked her for saving life. 2 weeks after waking up was strong enough to walk, came to visit him, bringing the rest of the engineering crew. "You look better," said, studying his friend. "Different but better." "I feel different," admitted. "Sometimes I can sense things I could not before. Electrical fields, energy flows, it is strange." "The treatment changed you," said. "Does it bother you?" Considered. "No, it is part of me now, I accept it." The crew spent an hour talking, laughing, relieved to have their friend back. When they left, stayed behind for a moment. "The Queen wants to honor you," said. "Officially. There will be a ceremony. They want to give you medals, titles, probably citizenship too." Frowned. "I do not want any of that." "I know," said. "But you should think about what you do want. This is not going away. You are famous now. Your story has touched people across multiple worlds. Use that. Make it mean something." After left, thought for a long time. What did he want? He had not saved for glory or reward. He had done it because it was right. But now people were paying attention. Maybe that attention could be used for something good. When Queen came to discuss the ceremony, had an answer ready. "Your Majesty, I am honored by your offer, but I do not want medals or titles." Raised an eyebrow. "What do you want?" "I want to continue my work as an engineer," said, "and I want to help create a cultural exchange program between humans and we saved my life by combining our knowledge. Imagine what we could do if we worked together all the time." Smiled. "That is a wise request. Consider it done." The ceremony was held on the main deck of the flagship. Thousands attended in person. Millions watched through broadcasts. Stood in his simple engineering uniform, looking uncomfortable with all the attention. Queen spoke to the assembled crowd. "Today we honor courage. Not the courage of battle, but the courage of compassion. Did not think about politics or treaties or gain. He heard a child in danger, and he acted. He showed us that civilization is not measured by our ships or our weapons, but by our willingness to sacrifice for those who cannot defend themselves." She turned to, "You asked for no medals, so instead I give you this." She presented him with a crystal star, small and simple. "This is the Protector's Star. It is given to those who defend the innocent at great cost to themselves. Wear it and know that you are honored among my people." Accepted the star with a bow. "Thank you, Your Majesty." And continued, "I announce the creation of the Human Cultural Exchange. We will learn from each other, we will grow together, and we will honor the courage that made this possible." The crowd erupted in cheers. In the military section, General watched with a frown. His officers looked uneasy. This was exactly what they had feared, humans gaining influence, becoming important to the empire. After the ceremony approached shyly, she held out a small box. "I made you something." Inside was a drawing carefully framed. It showed and together, surrounded by stars. At the bottom she had written in her best handwriting, "My Guardian Star." "Guardian Star is a special title in our culture," explained seriously. "It means someone who protects you always. That is what you are to me." Felt emotion rise in his throat. He knelt down to her level. "Thank you, Princess. I will treasure this always." "Will you stay here?" asked hopefully. "Will you stay with us?" "For a while," said. "I have work to do. The exchange program needs someone to lead it, and I think I am the right person for that job." As the celebrations continued, found standing by a window, looking out at the stars. "You changed everything," said. "You know that, right? This is bigger than you, bigger than saving one child." "I know," admitted. "It is strange. I was just trying to do the right thing. Now I am some kind of symbol." "You are a symbol of the best of us," said. "Humans are not the strongest or species, but we care, we try. We do not give up on people. You proved that." Looked at the crystal star in his hand. It glowed faintly, reacting to his hybrid biology. "I hope I can live up to what they think I am." You already did, assured him. Everything else is just details. In the weeks that followed, the cultural exchange program began to take shape. Humans and started working together on projects. Medical teams shared knowledge. Engineers collaborated on new technologies. Young people from both species studied together. Divided his time between his engineering work and the exchange program. His hybrid biology made him uniquely qualified to test new technologies that combined human and science. He became a living bridge between two peoples. Princess began her education with both and human teachers. She learned Earth history, human art, and human philosophy. She became fascinated with humanity's stubborn hope, their refusal to give up even in impossible situations. "Mother," she said one evening, "when I am queen, I want humans to be our closest allies. I want us to be friends forever." Queen smiled at her daughter. "I think that can be arranged." But in the military sector, General was making plans. He did not trust this new alliance. He did not trust humans. And he was not alone. A conspiracy was forming, people who thought the Empire was making a mistake, who wanted to end the human presence before it grew too strong. They did not know that their plans would soon be discovered. They did not know that their actions would only prove how valuable the human alliance truly was. For now, though, there was peace, worked, learned. The exchange program flourished, and across two civilizations, people began to believe that maybe, just maybe, they could build something better together. All because one human had refused to let a child die. 6 months had passed since woke from his stasis chamber. Life had settled into a new rhythm. The cultural exchange program was thriving. Research facilities buzzed with joint projects. Young humans and studied side by side, learning from each other. Had become more than an engineer. He was a teacher, a diplomat, and a symbol of what was possible when species worked together. His hybrid biology continued to develop in interesting ways. He could now interface with technology directly, understanding their systems in ways no other human could. Princess had changed too. She was still young, but she carried herself differently now, more serious, more thoughtful. She spent hours learning about human history and culture. Her favorite lessons were about Earth's explorers, the people who had ventured into unknown territory because they wanted to learn and discover. "Why do humans explore so much?" she asked one day during a lesson. Thought carefully. "Because we are curious. Because we want to know what is beyond the next hill, the next star, and because we hope to find friends out there." "Like you found us?" asked. "Like I found you," agreed with a smile. But not everything was peaceful. In the military research facility, General held secret meetings. His son, Minyu, often attended these meetings, though he was young and unsure about his father's plans. "The humans have too much access," said to his gathered officers. "They work in our research labs, they study our technology, they influence the princess. This is dangerous." "What do you propose?" an officer asked. "We sabotage the exchange program," said bluntly. "Make it look like human espionage. The Queen will have to end the partnership. We protect the Empire." Minyu shifted uncomfortably. He had met some of the human engineers. They seemed nice. They worked hard. They did not seem like spies. "Father," Minyu said carefully, "are you sure humans are a threat? They have helped us. The medical advances alone." "You are young," interrupted. "You do not understand politics. Trust me, this is necessary." The conspirators began their plan. They would plant false evidence in the human research section. They would make it look like humans were stealing military secrets. Then they would expose it publicly, forcing Queen to end the alliance. But they did not know that would discover them. It happened by accident. Was working late on a joint engineering project, interfacing with the ship systems to calibrate a new sensor array. His hybrid biology allowed him to connect deeply with technology, seeing patterns in data that others missed. That night he noticed something strange. encrypted files moving through unauthorized channels, communications that did not match normal patterns. His instincts told him something was wrong. He dug deeper, carefully tracing the data streams. What he found made his blood run cold, evidence being manufactured, plans to frame the human research team, names of conspirators, including General. Disconnected quickly and went straight to. They spent hours reviewing what had found, making sure it was real. "This is bad," said finally. "If we expose this wrong, it could start a war within the military. If we do nothing, they will destroy the exchange program and blame us." "We need to tell Queen," said. "And say what? That a respected general is a traitor. We need more proof, better proof." They worked through the night, gathering evidence, building an airtight case. By morning, they had everything they needed. Queen listened to their report in her private chamber. Her face remained calm but could see anger in her eyes. Not at him, at the conspirators. "General has served the Empire for decades," said quietly. "He was my mother's trusted officer. To believe he would do this." "I have the proof, Your Majesty," said. He showed her the data, the communications, everything. Studied it all carefully. Finally, she nodded. "You are right, this is real," she looked at with respect. "You could have run. You could have told your government and left us to deal with this mess. Why did you bring it to me?" "Because this is my home now too," said simply. "These conspirators threaten what we are building together. I could not let that happen." Made a decision. "We will not expose this publicly. Not yet. That would only create chaos. We need to prove the value of our alliance so completely that even the conspirators lose their support." How asked. "We wait for an opportunity," said. "It will come." The opportunity came sooner than expected. 3 days later, an emergency call came from Scientific Station Gamma, located on the edge of space. The station housed both human and researchers working on advanced physics. Something had gone catastrophically wrong. A containment field had failed. The station was losing atmosphere. Power was failing. Everyone inside would die within hours. The military fleet was too far away. Standard rescue ships could not reach them in time. The situation seemed hopeless. But studied the problem and saw a solution. "My hybrid biology lets me interface directly with systems," he explained to Queen. "If we take a small, fast ship, I can manually override the station's emergency protocols from inside. We can stabilize it long enough for proper rescue." "It is too dangerous," said. "The radiation levels alone are similar to what I survived before," finished. "I can handle it, but I need a team, and I need authorization to bring Princess." Everyone stared at him. "You want to take my daughter into that danger?" asked, her voice sharp. "With respect, Your Majesty, I want her to see what our alliance means. I want her to be part of saving those people. She wants to be a good queen someday. This is what good queens do." Was silent for a long moment. Then she turned to who had been listening quietly. "Do you want to do this?" Straightened her shoulders. "Yes, Mother. Taught me that being royal means helping people, not hiding from danger." Looked at her daughter, seeing not a child but someone growing into a leader. "Very well, but you follow orders exactly. Understand?" "Yes, Mother," said seriously. They assembled a team quickly. And a pilot, a human medic. They took the fastest ship available and flew toward the dying station. At the military base, General heard about the mission and smiled coldly. This was perfect. The mission would fail. The station would be destroyed. Everyone would blame the rushed rescue attempt, the inclusion of humans, the foolishness of risking the princess. The conspiracy had not even needed to act. The humans were destroying themselves. "Should we help them?" Minyu asked his father. "No," said firmly. "Let them fail, it will prove I was right." But underestimated what he was dealing with. He underestimated human determination. He underestimated the bond that had formed between species. Most of all, he underestimated The small ship reached the station in record time. The situation was worse than reported. The station was tumbling, systems failing, people dying, but did not hesitate. "You stay with the ship," he ordered. "Monitor communications. If anything goes wrong, you tell your mother what happened." "I want to help," protested. "You are helping," said gently. "We need someone coordinating from here. Can you do that?" Nodded, understanding the responsibility he was giving her, and entered the station through an emergency airlock. Inside was chaos, people trapped in sections without air, systems shorting out, fires burning in oxygen-rich areas. They split up, went to the medical bay to treat injured researchers, worked on restoring life support, headed for the central control core. The radiation levels were intense. Warning alarms screamed at him, but pushed forward, his hybrid body handling the exposure better than any normal human could. He reached the control core and placed his hands on the interface. The connection was immediate. He felt the station's systems like extensions of his own body. He could sense the damage, the failing containments, the desperate power struggles, and he began to fix it. His consciousness spread through the station's network. He rerouted power, sealed breaches, stabilized the containment fields. It was like conducting an orchestra, every system a different instrument that needed to play in harmony. On the ship, watched the station stabilize. "It is working," she called out. "Mother, he is doing it." Queen watched from the flagship, her heart in her throat. Around her, the entire bridge crew watched in silence. In the military base, General stared at his screens in disbelief. "That is impossible," he whispered. "One human cannot stabilize an entire station." "But he is not just human anymore," Minyu said quietly. "Is he, father?" Inside the station, felt his strength failing. The radiation was too much even for him. His hybrid cells were struggling, but he was almost done, just a little more. "Your readings are critical," his voice came through his calm. "You need to disconnect." "Almost there," gasped. "One more system, one more seal, one more." "Done." The station stabilized completely. Life support kicked in. Containment fields locked. The danger was over. Collapsed, unconscious but alive, and got him back to the ship. They had saved everyone on the station, 32 researchers and 8 humans. Not one life lost. The rescue became legendary across both civilizations. Images spread everywhere, Princess coordinating communications with calm authority, working alongside engineers, treating patients of both species without distinction, and interfacing with alien technology to save everyone. General's conspiracy crumbled. His own officers, seeing what the Alliance had accomplished, refused to follow his plans. When Queen confronted him with evidence of his plot, even his supporters abandoned him, but did not execute. Instead, she gave him a choice: work in the cultural exchange program or face trial for treason. Learn about humans firsthand or lose everything. Chose the exchange program. Minyu went with him. Together, they began to understand what they had tried to destroy. Months later, Minyu approached during a work shift. "I need to thank you," he said awkwardly. "My father was among those trapped on the station. You saved him, even though he tried to destroy you." Looked surprised. "I did not know your father was there." "That is my point," Minyu said. "You saved everyone. You did not care about politics or grudges. You just saved people. That is," he struggled for words, "that is something special." A formal alliance treaty was signed between Earth and the Empire, was honored in a ceremony, his name added to the Wall of Guardians, the first human ever listed among those who had given themselves to save others. Years passed, continued his work, becoming older, wiser, more experienced. The cultural exchange program expanded to include other species. The medical breakthroughs from his treatment saved countless lives. Princess grew up studying both cultures. When her mother peacefully transferred power, became queen. One of her first acts was to declare an official day of alliance, celebrating the friendship between humans and. On that day, she visited in his garden on a colony world. He was older now, his hair gray, his body slower, but his eyes were still bright. "Teacher," said, sitting beside him, "I brought my children to meet you." Two young approached shyly, told them the story, the human who could not let a child die, who ran into death because it was right, who changed the course of civilizations with one choice. "Was it hard?" one child asked, "being so brave?" "Thought about it. I was not trying to be brave. I just heard someone who needed help, so I helped. That is all." "But you changed everything," the child insisted. "No," said gently. "I made one choice. Other people made it matter. Queen, who refused to let me die, who risked his mind to save me, who created something new, your grandmother who learned and grew, all of them made it matter." Queen smiled. "But it started with you, with one human deciding that one life mattered." Looked at the children playing together in his garden, humans and an other species, all friends. "I suppose it did," he admitted. "I suppose one choice can ripple out further than we ever imagine." "That is why we teach your story," said. "Not because you are a hero, but because you show us that anyone at any moment can choose to make things better. That is the principle: one person, one choice, one moment of courage can change the universe." Watched the children play, thinking about that moment in the radiation-filled corridor when he chose to run toward danger instead of away from it. He would do it again, not because he was special, but because it was right. And sometimes he had learned that is all it takes.